Govinda ki jai. Prem se Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare. Jai Shri Shadi Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. Jai Shri Bhagavan. We'll speak on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 10, verses 10 to 13. Today is a very special day because we are also celebrating Guru Purnima, which is also the appearance of Vyasadeva, and also the disappearance of Sanatan Goswami and His Holiness Srila Bhaktacharya Maharaj. So I'll try to speak something on each one of them. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudidayet Nashtaprayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavatir Naishtaki. I'll just share the verse now. Won't be a moment. Right, can you see the verse here? And the slide? Hare Krishna, can anyone see the slide?
Yes, Prabhuji, we can see it properly.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So just before we begin, just do a quick recap of what we've understood so far, what's happened so far. So Dhruva Maharaj returned back. He married the daughter of Prajapati Shishumar, and whose name was Brahmi, and then his brother went out to the forest, Uttam, and then he got killed. And his stepmother Suruchi also went out, and she, ended up in having the same fate. So when Dhruva Maharaj heard of the killing of his brother Uttam by the Yakshas in the Himalayas mountains, being overwhelmed with lamentation and anger, he got on his chariot and went out for victory over the city of the Yakshas, Alkapuri. Dhruva Maharaj went to the northern direction of the Himalayan range. In a valley, he saw a city full of ghostly persons who were followers of Lord Shiva. As soon as Dhruva Maharaj reached Alkapuri, he immediately blew his conch shell, and the sound reverberated throughout the entire sky and in every direction. The wives of the Yakshas became very, very frightened, and from the eyes it was apparent that they were full of anxiety. The great, powerful heroes of the Yakshas, unable to tolerate the resounding vibration of the conch shell of Dhruva Maharaj, came forth from the city with weapons and attacked Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj, who was a very great charioteer and certainly a great bowman, also immediately began to kill them by simultaneously discharging arrows 3 at a time. When the heroes of the Yakshas saw that all the heads were being thus threatened by Dhruva Maharaj, they could very easily understand their awkward position, and they concluded that they would certainly be defeated. But as heroes, they lauded the action of Dhruva. We continue from there today. The verse 10.
Prabhuji, one request to you.
Yes.
The verse seems to be very small font. If you can just increase it a bit, I think the readers should have an advantage. Okay. Thank you.
Is it? Let's see. Is it better?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, it's much better.
Okay. So tepi chamum amrishyantah te padasparsham ivo ragaah sharair avidyan yugapad dvigunam prachikirshavaha tepi chamum amrishyantah padasparsham ivo ragaah sharair avidyan yugapad dvigunam prachikirshavaha. Anyone would like to recite the verse?
Prabhuji, I am trying.
Yeah, sure. Go.
Tepi chamum amrishantam padasparsham iboraga sharoid avidhan yugapat digunam pratikirshak kirshava.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna
Anyone would like
Prabhuji.
to? Yes,
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Teopi chamumambrishanta padosparshamiboragaha sharirabhidhyanayugapat digunam prachikishavaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Thank you.
Guru, can I try?
Yes, sure. Yeah.
Teyapi chamum amrishantaha padasparsham ivoragaha sharoir avidyan jugo pada digunan prachikirshava. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, very nice.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I am trying as well.
Sure.
Hare
Go ahead.
Krishna.
Sure.
Teyopi chamam, sorry. Teyopi chamam amusrunta padasparsham ibhoragaha sari sari sarairir abhidyan yugapada digunam prachikirishavaha. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Hare Krishna. Tepi chamum amrishantaha padasparsham ivoragaah sharairavidyan yugapada dvigunam prachikirshavaha. Because we've got four verses to go through, I won't go through synonyms. We'll go straight into the translation. Just like serpents who cannot tolerate being trampled upon by everyone's feet, the Yakshas, being intolerant of the powerful, wonderful prowess of Dhruva Maharaj, threw twice as many arrows, six from each of their soldiers, and thus they very valiantly exhibited their prowess. Just like serpents who cannot tolerate being trampled upon by the by anyone's feet, the Akshas, being intolerant of the wonderful prowess of Dhruva Maharaj, threw twice as many arrows, six from each of their soldiers, and thus they were very valiantly exhibited their prowess. We'll go on to the next verse, verse 10 and 11 and 12 actually. Tata pratigharnistrimshai प्रासशूलपरश्वधै शक्तिर्भुषुण्डिभिश्चित्रवाजैश्चरैरपि. We'll go one by one. I mean, we will separate the verses. So, anyone would like to recite the first one? Tata parigha
Hare
nistrimshai.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
ততপরিঘনিস্ত্রিংশৈ প্রাশশূলপরশদ্বৈ শক্তিরিষ্টিভির্ভূষণ্ডিভিশ্ চিত্রবাজৈ শরৈরপি. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Tataha parigrahanistrimshvai prashashashula paraspadai shaktirishtivirvibhushandibhish chitra bhajoi sharirapi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, Prabhuji, I am trying.
Sure.
ततो परिधो निस्त्रिंशोऽयि प्राशशूलपरश्रधोऽयि शक्तिरिष्टिभिर्भूषण्डिभिश्चित्रभाजैः शरोरपि. Hare Krishna.
Very nice. Thank you. Anyone else?
I'm trying, Prabhu.
Sure.
Tata parikha nistrimishay prashashula parashadhihi parashadhai shaktirishtivir bhushanadibhish chitra bhajai sarare api. Hare Krishna.
Tatah parikha nistrimshai prasashula parashvadhai shaktrishtibhir bhushundibhish chitravajai sharairapi. Next verse. Abhyavarshan prakupitaah saratham sahasarathim इच्छन्तस्ते प्रतिकर्तुम् युक्तानां त्रयोदश. Anyone would like to try this first?
Try, Prabhu. अभ्यवर्षन् प्रकूपिताः सरथं सहसारथिम् इच्छन्तस्तत्प्रतिकर्तुम् अयुतानां त्रयोदश.
Thank you.
हरे कृष्ण
Anyone else?
प्रभु जी.
Yes.
अभ्यवर्षन् प्रकूपिताः शरथं सहसारथिम् इच्छन्तस्तत्प्रतिकर्तुम् अयुतानां त्रयोदश. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. अभ्यवर्षन् प्रकृतिः शारतं सारथिम् इच्छन्तस्तं प्रतिकर्तुम् अयुक्तानां त्रयोदश.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Prabhuji,
Anyone else? Sure.
अभ्यवर्षन् प्रकूपितः शरतं सहसारथिम् इच्छन्तस्तत्प्रतिकर्तुम् अयुतानां त्रयोदश. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Anyone else? No? Abhyavarshan prakupitaah saratham sahasarathim icchantastat pratikartum ayutanam prayodasha. The Yaksha soldiers were 130,000 strong, all greatly angry and all desiring to defeat the wonderful activities of Dhruva Maharaj. With full strength they showered upon Dhruva Maharaj, along with his chariot and charioteer, various types of feathered arrows, parikas, iron bludgeons, nistrimshas, swords, prasashulas, tridents, parashvadhas, lances, shaktis, pikes, rishtis, spears, and bhushundi weapons. There is quite a lot of weapons there. So we'll move on to the next verse. Verse 13. Autan padih tada shastravarshena bhurina na eva drishyata channa asarena yatha girihi. Anyone would like to recite that verse?
Yes, Prabhuji, I am trying. औत्तनपादीश तदा शस्त्रवर्षेण भूरिना न दिशतच्चन्न आषाढेन यथा गिरिः. हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, can I try?
Yes, yes, Mahesh.
उत्तानपादि शतदा शस्त्रवर्षेण भूरिना न एव दृश्यता छन्न आषाढेन यथा गिरिः. हरे कृष्ण.
Anyone else? Yes. Prabhu.
अहुतान् पादोषा तद शास्त्रवर्षेण भूरिना Naiva drishyatārchena asharena yata giri.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yes, I'm trying, Prabhu. अत्तन्पदै शतदा शास्त्रवर्षेण भूरिना न एव दर्शयतच्छन्न अशारेण यथा गिरि. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Autan padai satada shastra varshena bhurina na eva drishyatachanna asarena yatha girihi. Dhruva Maharaj was completely covered by an incessant shower of weapons, just as a mountain is covered by incessant rainfall. Purport by Sri Krishna Prabhupada. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out in this connection that although Dhruva Maharaj is covered by the incessant arrows of the enemy, this does not mean that he succumbed in the battle. The example of a mountain peaks being covered by incessant rain is just suitable for when our mountain is covered by incessant rain. All dirty things are washed from the body of the mountain. Similarly, the incessant shower of arrows from the enemy gave Dhruva Maharaj new vigor to defeat them. In other words, whatever incompetency he might have had was washed away. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnavasthaya Bhutale Srimati Muktichara Swami Nami. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnavasthaya Bhutale Srimati Tamal Krishna Goswami Nami. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishnavasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Nami. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Visheshunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarni. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Guroshvat Padakamalam Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sakrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sanjeevam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijan Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shravishakanutamsha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Ram. So far we've been reading about how Dhruva Maharaj has attacked the Yakshas, and the Yakshas have been fighting back, and they've been firing all sorts of weapons upon Dhruva Maharaj, and likewise Dhruva Maharaj has been attacking the Yakshas with lots of arrows. It's interesting to note how Prabhupada mentions here about the different types of weapons. Feathered arrows, parikas, iron bludgeons, nistrimshas, swords, and prasa shulas, tridents. I'm assuming it's trishul, tridents and trishul. So parashvadhas, lances, and shaktis, pikes, rishtis, spears, and pushundis, weapons. So in the Vedic system, there's a whole lot of different types of weapons that have been used over a period of time for fighting, and those arrows were generally invoked with mantras. There's different types of arrows that we used, like Brahmastra, Agniastra, Pashupatastra, and so forth. And I'm sure you would have read about this during in the Mahabharata, about how the different warriors use different weapons. But in this case, yeah, it's a whole lot of other weapons that have been described, which is quite interesting. And fight's been going on, and even though the Yakshas know that they don't have much hope, despite that they were fighting, and they were also at the same time very, very um, impressed, I would say, with the way Dhruva Maharaj was fighting, and that's because in this case here, Dhruva Maharaj, knowing um, basically had, because of the amount of arrows and weapons coming from the other side, it gave Dhruva Maharaj new vigor to defeat them. A lot of times when we're doing something and we don't have the incentive, we don't pursue it further. In this case here, Dhruva Maharaj uh, is being attacked by so many different types of weapons, and this is actually giving him a lot more energy, more motivation to even defeat them further. So, in the same way, we have in our spiritual life, a lot of challenges may come into our spiritual life, but we need to have this motivation, this energy, this vigor to overcome all those challenges and move forward in our spiritual life despite all the challenges we may have. And this has been portrayed by different devotees over a period of time. And Srila Prabhupada in his own life exemplified that. Despite all the challenges he had right from the beginning, he was determined. He had the utsaha, he had the nishchaya, and he had the dhairyat. And with all of that, and of course, he had uh, the determination and the mercy of his Guru Maharaj. He was fully determined that he wanted to fulfill the instruction that his Guru Maharaj has given him. And as a result of that, Srila Prabhupada was able to uh, do such a wonderful thing at such a ripe age, with no one was able to do that. So it's an incentive for us, from this example. I mean, even there's a fight between the Yakshas and Dhruva Maharaj, but I think the point we're getting from here is that no matter how much you are attacked, by Maya, by external forces, negative forces, you must remain equipoised. You must remain determined. You must not get sidetracked in the spiritual life. Rather, you must be determined and make all effort to conquer all the negative forces, the effects of Maya, and become successful in spiritual life. Pursue that path with whole heart, determination. And this, of course, we can do this by the association of devotees. So, association of devotees, taking shelter of the holy name, um, are the main things. We'll definitely struggle. I'm sure we all struggle in one way or the other in executing our devotional services. But when we have association of good devotees who are guiding us, and we have the full determination, we have full faith in our Guru Maharaj, in Srila Prabhupada, and Krishna, then we definitely can overcome all these challenges. So from this, I think this is what I understand. This is a great example for us to make sure that we are determined. We don't get sidetracked. We don't feel that, oh, I don't have any hope now. Here, despite Dhruva Maharaj being alone and the Yakshas being in 130,000 plus kind of in size, Dhruva Maharaj did not get worried about that at all. He just fought continuously, because if he was going to think, oh, there's about 130,000 on the other side and I'm the only one over here, there's no chance of me winning, he would have just surrendered then and there. But a devotee of the Lord never surrenders to Maya, never surrenders to the negative forces that are on your path of devotional service. A devotee fights with Maya, just like Dhruva Maharaj is fighting here. Your weapons. What are the devotees' weapons? Mahamantra, Kirtan, the books and the association of devotees. Those are our weapons. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came, in the previous yugas, he had appeared with his astras. Right? He appeared with Sudarshan Chakra. When he came, appeared as Krishna, he came with bow and arrow and so forth. But in Kali Yuga, it says Sango Pangastra Parshadam. The Lord appeared with Sanga Pangastra, Astra as well. But what is his Astra in Kali Yuga? In the age of Kali, the Lord's Astra is Harinam Sankirtan. By the potency of by Harinam Sankirtan, he was able to change even the most sinful, like Jagan Madhai. If you look at it, everyone in Kali Yuga is sinful. And if the Lord had to come with a weapon, he would have had to basically kill everyone. Even when the Lord invoked his Sudarshan Chakra to kill Jagan Madhai for the offenses they have done, Lord Nityananda Prabhu begged at his Lord's feet and said, "My dear Lord, you have come in this Kali Yuga to deliver the most fallen. If you were to kill, then you will have to kill almost everyone, because everyone in Kali Yuga are sinners." And he pacified the Lord to, do away with the Sudarshan Chakra. So this is exactly what we understand from other pastimes as well. Like I said, mentioned about Prabhupada and the other acharyas, that we have to fight with Maya at every step. So anyone has got any questions on that before we move on to the appearance of Vyasadeva? Anyone's like to share any point, any comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, nice explanation. Yeah, this is how we fight every day in the morning and struggle to do the japa. Yeah, that is also one type of fight against our will. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So this is the same thing as Dhruva Maharaj is doing against another enemy, Yakshashan. The same thing it happens within our body, within our mind. So it's very good example. Yeah.
Exactly. We have not external forces, but we also have enemies within ourselves.
Yeah.
Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Isha,
Yeah.
Dam, Kapar, these are all our enemies. So we have external enemies and enemies within ourselves, which we have to conquer. Anyone else like to comment anything?
Really, the power of Maya is so strong that in every moment it obstructs us to perform our devotional service. And it has, Prabhupada has told that it has two parts. One, it prevents us not to do devotional service, not to see the things in the proper perspective. And whenever one is engaged, it also prevents him to take away from that at the same time. One is called Prakshepan and the Vikshepan. There's two power. One stops us even to do the devotional service ab initio, not to do it. And second, when we are there, it also every time distracts us, so that we get distracted from that and we cannot pursue it properly. So we have to overcome this at every moment in different forms, and for different person it is different.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. In this case, a very nice story that comes to mind. A very nice story. There used to be a fisherman who used to throw his net into the ocean every day for fishing. And lots of every day the fishermen would get fish, you know. Uh, so in the ocean, the ship started the fishes started talking among themselves. One fish very proudly said, "You know what? I never get caught in the fishing net of the fishermen." So the other fisher said, "How? Why? Why do you not get caught?" It's very simple. When I see the boat coming, I see the fishermen, I go and basically hide under the boat. So if I hide under the boat, I never get caught in the fishermen, because the fishermen will always throw the net further. They will never throw in the net under them. So in that way, I never get caught. So in the same way, um, it is explained that um, that fisherman is actually Maya, sorry, devotees. And when we are in the association of the devotees, the net which represents Maya cannot catch us. So if we are always under association with devotees, we will never be able to get uh, affected by Maya. Anyone else like to comment or share anything? No? Okay. Um, I'll move on to the next part, and that is that today we are also celebrating the Guru Purnima. Guru Purnima is basically a day when we celebrate the appearance, or actually glorify the Guru. And the word Guru means ignorance. Sorry, the word Gu means ignorance, and Ru means one who destroys. So what Guru means one who destroys ignorance of the heart. So today, Guru Purnima is also celebrated as Vyasa Purnima, which means the appearance of Vyasadeva. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we read about Vyasadeva being the 17th incarnation of the Lord who appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Parashar Muni. He divided one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, and seeing that the people in general were less intelligent, so he basically compiled all the Vedic literatures, knowing that in Kali Yuga people will not have the ability to um, to be able to remember, because in the previous yugas people used to just remember simply by hearing. They used to be called Shrutidhar. That means they used to just listen once and just remember. But in Kali Yuga that is not the case, you know. And so he appeared for the purpose of compiling the Vedic literatures. So he divided the Vedas uh, in the original Veda into four, namely Samaved, Yajurved, Rigved, and Atharvaved. And then they were explaining different branches like the Puranas and the Mahabharata. He wrote 17 Puranas, in fact 18 Puranas, of which the last work was Srimad Bhagavatam. These 18 Puranas are divided into 6 categories. 6 are in the mode of goodness, 6 are in the mode of passion, and 6 are in the mode of uh, uh, 6 are in the mode of goodness, 6 are in the mode of passion, and 6 are in the mode of ignorance. He also wrote Mahabharata, but the interesting thing about how he wrote, when he was writing, wanted to get the Vedas written, he took the assistance, help of Lord Ganesha. Ganesha said, "I will write, but on the condition that you will not stop." So um, that means you will not, stop. You'll have to continue speaking. So Vyasadeva said, "Yeah, that's fine. As long as you before writing, you understand what you're writing. And in that way, the whole writing continued. So, um, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the last piece, he had written all the different Puranas previously, Puranas, all of that. And he was still unsatisfied. And then his Guru Maharaj, Narad Muni, appeared to him and said, "Why are you, you don't look very happy. Why? What's the reason for your anxiety?" And he had expressed that I had written everything, but I still not satisfied. And Narad Muni basically said that you have written, but you all these Puranas, but you've also in a way through the Puranas given people some sort of load that by doing this you'll get this, by doing this you'll do that, by worshipping this demigod you'll get this. But you have not actually spoken about the Supreme Person of Godhead in detail. And that's when Narad was instructed him to write Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the uh, considered the Grantharaj, the king of all the Vedic literatures, because it was the last work of Vyasadeva. And in Srimad Bhagavatam basically is actually the literal incarnation of God, and is meant for the ultimate good of all people. So he gave this knowledge to his disciples, and then of course he taught Srimad Bhagavatam to Sukadeva Goswami's son, and eventually Sukadeva Goswami narrated the entire Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And that's how we received Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's explained that when the second millennium, which is Dwapar, overlapped with the third millennium, which is Treta Yuga, the great sage Srila Vyasadeva was born to Parashar Muni in the womb of Satyavati, the daughter of Vasu, the daughter of fishermen. So, and the date of Vyasadeva's appearances, uh, said to be Vaishak Purnima. And he is actually the 17th incarnation of the Lord, as mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm sure you all know a little bit about Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva was actually revered by Madhvacharya. Even though Vyasadeva uh, finished writing, but he went up to Upper Badri, and that is where he's said to be residing even till today. So when Madhvacharya was on his tour up north, then he personally went and visited the ashram of Vyasadeva in Upper Badri, and Vyasadeva gave him some Shaligram Shilas, and also taught him, gave him the knowledge. And after that, Madhvacharya came, and then he wrote the commentaries on the different scriptures like Bhagavad Gita and Mahabharata and uh, Bhagavad Puran, and a few other Puranas. So that's very briefly about uh, Vyasadeva. Today also is the disappearance day of Sanatan Goswami. Sanatan Goswami is actually one of the principal disciples of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one of the six Goswamis, was born in 1488, 2 years after the appearance of Lord Chaitanya. He was the eldest in the family. His younger brother was Rupa Goswami and Vallabh, which is Anup. And in his youth, Sanatan Goswami dreamed that a beautiful Brahmin boy gave him a Srimad Bhagavatam. Feeling ecstatic, he woke up, but seeing neither the boy nor the Bhagavatam, he felt sad. But when Sanatan began his puja that morning, however, Krishna himself, disguised as a Brahmin, beautiful Brahmin boy, came and said, "Take this Srimad Bhagavatam from me. Always study it, and you will be able to attain perfection." So on the death of his father, Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami. Both were forced to take up the post of in the kingdom of Alauddin Hussain Shah. So Sanatan became Sakar Malik, and who was the treasurer, and Rupa Goswami became Dabir Khas, private secretary. So they were forced to submit to the ruling, Muslim government. And when at one point both of them resigned, but when Rupa Goswami was wanting to leave, he was threatened not to leave. If he did, if he insisted, he would be imprisoned. So he basically resisted. He didn't want to go back to the job. So as a result of that, the Muslim ruler, imprisoned him. Now, when he was in the prison, the jailer, he bribed the jailer. He gave them 7,000 gold coins. And by looking at this 7,000 gold coins, he released Sanatan Goswami. And Sanatan Goswami straight after left. Apparently, it said that he actually, when he was crossing the Ganga, he crossed the Ganga by sitting on the top of a crocodile. The crocodile took him over to the other side of the Ganga, and then the crocodile left, which is very impressive. Amazing how that happened. And then he Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered both Rupa and Sanatana Goswami to move to Vrindavan, perform the 4 services, which is to uncover Sri Krishna's pastime places, install deities and arrange for their puja, compile scriptures on devotional service, and propagate rules of devotional life. Entering Lord Chaitanya's service, they resolutely gave up power and riches and position and lived in Vrindavan as beggars and did their bhajan. They traveled extensively through Vajramandal, discovering many Leela sthalas of Radha Madhava. And they had no fixed residence. They would catch a few winks of sleep under a tree or bush. Sri Rupa and Sanatana Goswami spent all their time writing, discussing Krishna's pastimes and chanting Krishna's holy names. To maintain himself, Sanatana would somehow bake some wheat flour, roll it in a bowl by adding a touch of Yamuna water, and drop it in smothering coals to cook. He established the Radha Madan Mohan temple in Vrindavan, which is one of the principal temples, and which was in that time when the deity was there, but it's still considered as one of the principal temples in Vrindavan. And he also wrote many books as well. Sanatana Goswami wrote Hari Bhakti Vilas. He wrote Brihat Bhagavatamrita. And Shri Krishna Lilastava. And Brihat Bhagavatamrita is the biggest work, one of the biggest works that we've, I'm sure we have all heard about it somehow or the other. So they performed the pastimes, they performed their bhajan in Vrindavan, and then eventually they also got instruction from the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. And later on, Sanatana Goswami gave up his body in Vrindavan. Sanatana Goswami is understood to be the Nitya Lila is known as the Rati Manjari, Ravanga Manjari, who serves Vishaka Sakhi in the Nitya Lila of Krishna, Radha Madhava. So that's a very brief story about the outline of Sanatana Goswami, the great acharyas, even till today, the works have been read not by just by Gauri Vaishnavas, but also by other Vaishnavas like Sri Sampradaya acharyas and others as well. Hari Bhakti Vilas again is another one that I've heard other um, spiritual leaders from other branch also study that book. We also have today the disappearance day of His Holiness Sri Bhakti Chandra Maharaj, my dear Guru Maharaj, who is and has been one of the great leaders of ISKCON. He was born in Bangladesh, actually, in the undivided, in Bengal, which was the undivided India at that time, which is now in Bangladesh. So he was born in 1945, and then they moved to Calcutta. So he spent most of his early life in the city of Calcutta. He was born in a very wealthy and modern family. In fact, the family were very much of higher status. They always had those Western lifestyle kind of. They lived like a Westerner to an extent because of how the British lived. So they lived similar. They they were very wealthy at that time. And then in 1970 he left India to study chemistry and in Germany. And after studying chemistry, he also did his pilot studies. But at that time in Germany, people were kind of speaking ill of the Indian culture, Indian heritage, Indian scriptures, And because of that, Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Maharaj did not appreciate that kind of comments from the local German people. So he decided to study himself. And he studied the Vedic literatures in Germany, and he discovered the richness, of India's spiritual heritage. Then in 1975, he returned back to India to wholeheartedly pursue spiritual life. After thoroughly studying the Vedic scriptures, Maharaj became aware of the need to find a spiritual master who could lead him on a sound spiritual course. From Delhi, when he arrived, he went to Haridwar, and from Haridwar he went to Rishikesh. And there he visited various ashrams. Now in the ashrams he saw people are doing pranayams, but they were not actually following the yam and niyam. Some of them were sitting on the banks of the Ganga and smoking ganja, So he wasn't impressed with that kind of behavior of the sadhus, so-called sadhus. So after traveling from the Himalayas, from up, he came down for 1 year of searching, and he was very getting impatient of who will be my Guru Maharaj. So he felt disappointed, and then and he returned to Calcutta. And in Calcutta, he started studying the Vedic literatures, and he almost gave up hope. In fact, he said that if there is a guru for me, then that person will find me himself. He came across an act of devotion while in Calcutta, which was written by his Divine Bishop Prabhupada. And after getting the book, he became engrossed in the book that he started studying page after page. And he realized that actually he has found his spiritual master. And the path he was searching for. That very night, Srila Prabhupada appeared to him in his dream and gave him darshan. And that confirmed to him that Srila Prabhupada was his guru. So now his desire to meet Srila Prabhupada became stronger and stronger. And at that time, Srila Prabhupada was in America. While waiting for Srila Prabhupada, he joined the temple in Mayapur and became more involved in devotional service there while Prabhupada was waiting for Prabhupada to return back to India. In 1976, around in the end of 1976, His Holiness Bhakti Maharaj eventually met Srila Prabhupada for the first time. And when Srila Prabhupada met him, he saw this is a young Bengali boy coming from a rich family, very educated, and he had decided to surrender his entire life to Krishna. He was very impressed. So, on the very moment, he gave him the assignment of translating his books into Bengali and made him the secretary for Indian Affairs. Within a few months, Srila Prabhupada gave him first and second initiation simultaneously in Mayapur during Gaur Purnima. And 3 months later, during Snan Yatra, on the day of Snan Yatra, Srila Prabhupada awarded him sannyas order. Now, when Prabhupada gave him sannyas, some of the devotees at that time argued kind of with Prabhupada. He said, Prabhupada, how can you give someone sannyas? He's only coming only like not for a long time. He's only been around for a short while. And you've given him sannyas after 3 months of initiation. Prabhupada mentioned that he's got so much bhakti that even if you all combine, you will not be able to match with him. And it is Prabhupada said, I know him. And as a result, Prabhupada gave him sannyas without any issues. So this demonstrates a remarkable investment of authority and blessing from Srila Prabhupada to have occurred in such a short period of time. Maharaj traveled and personally served Srila Prabhupada in his final years. He was a great cook. So he used to cook for Srila Prabhupada in his final days, and His Holiness Srila Tamal Krishna Maharaj used to serve Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada taught him some very nice recipes, which he still remembers, and he does cook. He used to cook. He's very good in all sorts of cuisines, whether it's Western or Indian or Bengali. I recently came across one of his book, kind of a book. It's a compilation of all the menus he loves, and nice to see all the different types of menus that he used to cook. He was very particular about how he wanted things to be done. I remember when he came to New Zealand, he cooked stir-fry noodles and stuff like that, and everyone, all the devotees relished it. I remember the very first time when I met him in Fiji, and I came across, I think it's spinach, some sort of spinach sabji he cooked. It was out of the world. That was the first time I've tried something sabji, green sabji, and I've never tried it before. It was amazing. And so Maharaj served Prabhupada in many ways in the final days, and then after that, in 1987, he became an initiating guru, and he joined the GBC, serving as a GBC chairman in 1989 and again in 2017. In 1995, Maharaj started translating Srila Prabhupada's books, finished translating Srila Prabhupada's books. And he finished all the books like Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion, just as Srila Prabhupada had instructed. He used to sleep at 9:30 every day while he was translating the books, and he would wake up at 12:30, and then from 12:30 onwards throughout the night till early hours of the morning, he would translate Srila Prabhupada's books, and he was able to successfully complete all the translations Um, in 1996, Maharaj took up the image task of making a biographical video epic on the life of Srila Prabhupada. I remember at one point when he was mentioning about the videos, he actually said that he had the desire to make a movie on Lord Chaitanya. And the reason why he decided to make a movie, because people now do not have time to read. They love more to watch than to read. And the only way to do that is through videos. So he had this desire. He wanted both movies on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. But then he thought, what was more important at that time? And it was important to glorify Srila Prabhupada, which is the reason why he took up that task of making a Bhajaran series. He wanted to glorify, show throughout the world, tell the world about the glories of Srila Prabhupada, what he has done, for the benefit of the human society. And in few months there were about 4 million viewers. It started on Indian Doordarshan channel, and today it's been available in DVD and USB forms as well. And anyone who would like to purchase the USB, you can contact Sita Nani Mataji. Beautiful. I started watching it again only recently, and every time I watched, I was amazed. In the movie, he only used the devotees, only few professional actors, but all characters in the movie were all devotees. In 2004, at the invitation of the Chief Minister of Madhya Pradesh, Shri Maharaj built a magnificent ISKCON temple in just 10 months in Ujjain. And that whole land was given by the Madhya Pradesh government. Guru Maharaj wanted to do so many things there, an IT park or something like that, and a temple, and place for devotees to stay, and a whole lot of things he wanted to do. So in the temple, this is the actual place, Avanti, Ujjain is the place where Krishna Balaram studied from Sandipani. Sandipani Muni Ashram is in Ujjain, and that is a significant place. So as a result of that, he installed the deities of Krishna Balaram along with Sandipani Muni, Radha Madan Mohan, Lalita Vishaka, and Golitai. There's also a Goshala for cow protection. They also do midday meals for school children. They've got a rural program to spread Vedic culture to village people, and several outreach centers in Bhopal and Indore. He also served as the ISKCON governor for France and South Africa at a time when those zones were facing immense difficulties. And through perseverance, he was able to turn the situation in these locations around. In 2007, Guru Maharaj began a altar production facility in Ujjain. The facility would manufacture beautiful wooden altars for the deities in all shapes and sizes for the temples and for devotees globally. You can look up on Ujjain altars on Facebook. If you want to order beautifully designed altars for your home. He also started the making of the deities' dresses in Ujjain, because previously they used to purchase new dresses from Vrindavan, and they started getting the devotees to make their own dresses. And they started stitching their own dresses, embroidering, making, exactly how they would do it in Vrindavan, but at a cheaper cost. And they were supplying to other temples as well. They're taking orders, so they were training the devotees in every aspect, making Prabhupada deities. That's where they make all the different deities for Prabhupada, Guru Parampara as well. In 2013, Maharaj also began development of a new ISKCON temple in Panihati. It's a place where the Jib Dahi festival took place, so that has been developed. And in 2014, he established the Ayurvedic Niketan, a traditional and Ayurvedic clinic in Ujjain. There's also a beautiful Govinda's restaurant in Ujjain as well. Uh, he also joined Earth Forum and began delivering keynote speeches globally and on spirituality to large audiences, business leaders. Under the direction of Guru Maharaj's Ujjain temple feeds more than about 23,000 school children every day from its 6,000 square feet industrial kitchen. He also served as the chairman of Anamrita Foundation, ISKCON's midday meals program, which feeds about 1.2 million across India every day. He set up a massive kitchen, and everything's all kind of there's massive machines here to make chapatis and everything. It's quite impressive. If you ever get a chance to go to Ujjain, have a look. Because there's not much labor in terms of making chapatis. All chapatis are made through the machine and cooked. His Honour Mukherjee Maharaj also served, as I said, GBC chairman twice, and he was the zonal secretary for ISKCON Mayapur, Kolkata, Ujjain, Bhubaneswar, Bangladesh, and Seattle. And he used to travel quite extensively, almost every day, to US, UK, South Africa, Middle East, Australia. He used to come to New Zealand, Fiji as well from time to time, although Fiji and New Zealand were not in his path. But he did come to New Zealand a couple of times, I think 3 times. Since 2008 or something like that, I can't remember. And we had the good fortune of hosting him, serving him. Also, he had been running a lot of retreats, different places. And East Australia was one place where he used to run retreats. I remember I've been to his retreats twice in Australia, one in Sunshine Coast and in Sydney. And he was very particular about how to host. He was making sure that everything's perfectly organized, whether it's prashadam, whether it's accommodation. Everyone was well looked after. And this is based on the teachings of Mahaprabhu, Vaishnav Seva. Vaishnav Seva means serving everyone perfectly nicely. It's a perfect host. He hosted many GBC meetings, many other events in Ujjain for the ISKCON leaders. And in 2016, Maharaj released his own memo, Ocean of Mercy, a search fulfilled, in which he recollects some intimate interaction with Sri Prabhupada. And the book describes how he developed a genuine love and dedication for Sri Prabhupada, who gave him life of Krishna Bhakti. And on November 17, 2016, the Institute of International Social Development, New York, and NGO, a special consultative status with the Economic and Social Councils of the UNESCO, the United Nations, awarded an accolade to Bhaktisarma Swami is a display of the gratitude for all the support he gave them on behalf of ISKCON in spreading the message of spirituality for world peace and understanding between nations and civilizations. And in 2018, he continued his service throughout the year in spreading the movement. He raised awareness towards cow protection. Om Shri Surabhi campaign. He organized the Cow Culture Conference in Milpitas in California. He always emphasized that if you are a follower of ISKCON, you need to make sure you follow 3 things. Be loyal to Sri Prabhupada, be loyal to GBC, and never leave ISKCON. So whenever he used to give initiations, he used to get everyone to take a vow that they will never leave ISKCON. This is how much determination he had In fact, he was the first person to start Prabhupada Katha, and throughout his life, he uh, did Prabhupada Katha at different places, and each time it was very relishing, and hearing from his own disciple. And um, in 2020, June 2020, he left for America with great determination to continue preaching and supporting the food distribution programs. In fact, before that, he had started developing a temple in the land in America, and he was developing that whole complex. He set up like a temple start with it. He was himself with the devotees setting that whole place up, and he wanted to go back and have a look. So, being in lockdown for some time, he was not getting opportunity to preach. So he wanted to go back to America and preach and see how things were going. And unfortunately, when he arrived in America, um, he contracted COVID-19, and thereafter he was hospitalized. And on 4th July 2020, on the auspicious day of Guru Purnima, the auspicious day of Sanatana Goswami's disappearance, he left this particular world and went back to be united with Srila Prabhupada. He was well known for his bhajans, particularly the Vaishnava bhajans. Such a melody, a sweet melody, which is very inspiring. Whenever you hear, in fact, I got attracted to it the very first time I heard his bhajans, even though I had not physically met him at that time. That was way back in Fiji. And um, it was amazing. Those bhajans would touch your heart. I'm sure all of you would agree, would have heard about his bhajans, his kirtans. Very soft and very beautiful. In fact, during Prabhupada's centennial celebrations, he actually got Prabhupada's one of Prabhupada's compositions, which is Gita Gan, a Bengali translation of Bhagavad Gita. It's entire Bhagavad Gita, but written in Bengali, verse by verse. So he got that into music form, and it was sung by Srikanta Acharya, and Guru Maharaj gave the introduction in there. So the entire Prabhupada's work was actually put into music, he gave voice to the entire work. It was very sweet. If you have the opportunity, look up Gita Gan on YouTube. And in this way, he was very soft-hearted. He was very much loved by all devotees in ISKCON. And he's done many wonderful activities, which was difficult, which was not easy for anyone to achieve, but he had so much faith in Prabhupada, so much determination, and he was so much love for Sri Prabhupada, and that actually got him to continue doing his service in ISKCON. His loss is definitely, his disappearance is a major loss to ISKCON. But for us, he will always remain in our memory, in our, in our heart, through his Vani. So, yeah, it's not an easy thing to talk about the disappearance of Guru Maharaj. I had some good pastimes with Guru Maharaj. I had this beautiful, when I first met him, he was very compassionate towards me. He was, I met only once, but he remembered the second day, and he asked me about the situation. He said, "What do you want me to do?" And he said, "Do you want to take initiation?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Okay, get ready, and I will give initiation." Even when I went to Australia in 2010, and um, I was recommended to take Brahmin initiation. When Brahmaj was heard about it, and Brahmaj called me and uh, he said, "Do you need Brahmin initiation?" I said, "I don't really need it, but the only thing is without Brahmin initiation, you can't cook and you can't do certain activities in the temple." He said, "Have you done Bhakti Shastra?" I said, "No." I said, "Okay, I would recommend you to do that." He said, "Okay, get ready. I'll give you Brahmin." He actually looked at me and he said, "Get ready. I will give you second initiation." Um, the only thing is that I was full that I did not realize that he wanted me to be fully shaved. So I had short hair and sort of it was very tough on me at that time during the yajna. The brahmanas must be fully paka, must be nice and clean. So that's a lesson for me, for everyone. Brahmanas must be always exemplary, uh, and they must be perfect in everything. Whether it's service, cooking, deity worship, whatever you do, put in 100%. No 50%, no 90%, no 99%. It must be 100%. So he trained us. He exemplified through his own uh, uh, personal interaction with his devotees, with the disciples, with godbrothers. He had so much love for his godbrothers, uh, and that we can see uh, from his pastimes. So I think I'll end it here now. Gone a little bit over. Um, thank you very much. Anyone who's got any comments? Or just like Srila Prabhupada went out on Harinam when the Japanese were about to calm Calcutta, also his Solan Bhaktara went. Swami went to preach in the USA at the beginning of the pandemic, which is, of course, yes, it's fearlessly. He was very fearless. He said, "Why should I fear? Because of this whole pandemic. Even though, Jain during the pandemic, they used to wash all the vegetables and they used to, sanitize each and everything. It was very particular. Despite that, one would wonder why they decided to go to America in the middle of the pandemic, even though their time people were living, like people are dying in big quantities in India and other parts of the world. Um, and he said, if I'm going to be worried about this whole thing, then, you know, I've never been to preach. And, Prabhupada wanted us to preach. So he fearlessly went out without worrying about his own life. He went out and, um, and he even, till the end, he uh, basically lived like a warrior. Individually, we might fight Maya by japa and collectively by Harinam Sankirtan in preaching. And very nice point, Krishnan Prabhu. So that is that brings me to the end of it. Anyone who's got any comments they'd like to share, feel free to do that before we end this class. Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for the very nice class and giving an elaborate information about the life of Charu Swami Maharaj. And you have dealt so much in details that there is hardly anything left for anyone to know. But just to add on that, he has during his lifetime also has traveled and undertaken a journey of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's journey from Navadvip or Shantipur to Puri. So he to arouse awareness among those who are living on that path. He did it before he did the TV serial or Abhacharan. He did it, and he was very knowledgeable. And he has good command over Bengali language. He has translated the Bengali version of the Bhagavad Gita of Prabhupada's book, and also Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Prabhupada has translated as nectar of devotion as summary things. He has also done that, and he has got very good at it. Being a Bengali, I had the opportunity to know that he has got very good command over Bengali language as well. In addition to his, he knew languages, he knew the music, he knew the also the direction also while giving the uh, giving this Avaicharan film that was displayed in India's Doordarshan, that's called. He exemplified himself as a vast reservoir of qualities, as the Vaishnav was and normally does, but he was a rare example of that. And thank you once again for your valuable participation and your information. If anybody has anything to comment, you are free to do that. Thank you.
Definitely, he was very, very pakka. Um, if I look at it this way, Bengal is known for music, poetry, and drama. All those things started from Bengal. The film industry started from Bengal, the music started from Bengal, and poetry in a way. So Gurmaj had all these qualities. Was a perfect musician. He played. He knew all the different types of music. He was very fluent in Bengali language. He was chastised some Bengali devotees for not pronouncing proper Bengali. So you are born in Bengal and you're not pronouncing or speaking proper Bengali. And he dramatized Srila Prabhupada's pastimes into video in a form that everyone can watch. Um, and it's been available in different languages, Hindi, Bengali, and English, and so forth. The whole Sankirtan movement is based on chanting, singing, and dancing. And Bengali music is sweet, very sweet. Bengali language is very sweet. So Gurmaj, through his, in fact, Gurmaj had translated Prabhupada's poem, which is Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja offering to his Guru Maharaj, Adored My Lord, I think it is, and he translated that into Bengali. Shishupatine Aradhona Kore Ajagore Jagatbashi চৈত্র মধুর স্বর্গ মেদুর শুভ লগনের রাশি. Perfect melody, music, everything. So he's a great kavi as well, poet as well. He was perfect in every aspect and exemplified through his activities that we have to learn to be perfect in every aspect about serving Krishna, whether it's deity worship, whether it's serving the Vaishnavas, uh, any form, any of spirituality, we must be 100%. And dealing with the devotees as well, particularly, he has so much love for not just any disciples, but any devotee would come to him.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? If anyone tries to speak anything about that, any comments to make, please make it. Thank you.
I know I've got a little bit over time, but speaking about devotees is always great. You'll enjoy speaking about the pastimes. If not, I will end here now. Thank you very much. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo namo namah. Mahamahotsava ki jai.
Jai.
Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.
Jai. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.